Mm.
Fun. What do you consider fun? Fun, natural fun. I will stop right there. So they don't cut me off like they cut me off last week. Good evening. We're back for another week of Friday Night Live with Dr. Kim. And if you notice, I'm here by myself tonight. That never happens. Well, every once in a while. So I'm going solo tonight. Solo. Because tonight is Q&A with Dr. Kim. I haven't done this for a while, where I just field questions that come in my inbox, that come across my phone, and things that I see on Facebook that people are wrestling with. So I said, you know what? We're going to do that on Friday while we wait to come back to our part 2 on dating dilemmas that we were talking about last week. We talked about so many of the problems Shar and Yaoyafumike was with me last week, and we were talking about all of the issues that go on with dating, regardless of how old you are. So we had a guest that was 30, we had a guest who was in their 60s, and then of course myself in the 50s, and we found that there were a lot of similarities. So we're going to come back next week and talk about solutions. But in the meantime, tonight we got some questions. So as you're coming in, I see some people coming in the chat. Good evening. Like and share, invite somebody into this conversation. And so if you don't hear your question answered, feel free to send it to me on Facebook, Kimberly A. King, or send it to my business page, The Complete Suite LLC. Same thing on Instagram, The Complete Suite LLC. Send me the question. And if we don't get to it tonight, we'll definitely, I'll add it in the next couple of weeks. So the first one is kind of funny. And I won't say it that it's, I'll just say it's kind of funny. So one of the questions that was sent was, I'm going to do this without my glasses. Why are there so many commercials about erectile dysfunction? That was the question. Somebody wanted to know, why are there so many commercials about erectile dysfunction? And then there's a follow-up question with that. So number one, let's talk about what is erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction is the disability to maintain an erection when seeking sexual pleasure. Isn't that a really nice definition of that? And so for men who suffer from that, and it isn't always older men. So that's one thing that I wanted to say to the person who sent that question. Typically, people think that that's older men that fight with that. So we know that it's more prevalent in men over 50. There are some younger men that deal with that. And so it is a medication that helps you get the job done, right? So why are there so many commercials? Number one, because we know we live in an over-sexualized society, right? So we know that there's great attention paid to sexual activity. People tend to think that their power comes from the ability to have sex, and in some cases with multiple partners. So that's a very lucrative industry, anything sexually related. And so in this day and age, if we can expand the market and make more money, people are going to do that. They're going to do that. And so drug manufacturers over here, we know pharmaceuticals, that's money on top of money. So you're going to see that. But here was the secondary part that I think turned the question from a funny one to something we want to seriously think about. And this person was a woman, asked, on top of that, why does it seem that men who use these products are sex fiends or pee hounds? And I don't want to get bleeped on YouTube, but y'all know wussy hounds. Why is that? And so, first of all, we want to say this. I don't ever like on this show saying all of anything. So when someone has seen a pattern of behaviors in a group of individuals, say some or a lot or even most, but we can never say all. And so I want to say that. So everybody that uses Viagra is not a fiend or a wussy hound. But we do have a tendency to see that some people who have been out of the game, and they get that blue pill in their hand and they realize that they can get back in the game. Maybe they're a little bit over motivated to have that activity and see how many people they can try it out on. But on a serious note, so for those of you who are listening and the women who usually listen, remember, this is not just for women only. The group on Facebook is for women only, but this platform, we talk here on YouTube, it is for men and women. I think what happens with the use of Viagra is less emphasis on foreplay. Folks just want to hit it and quit it, hurry up and get to it before the medication wears out. They want to try to get as many runs as they can on the time that they know they have. And so you may see that people are more prone to just jump in. How you doing? Good evening. That's some more people coming in the chat. Wave to me and tell me that you're here. And you still have an opportunity to send some questions if you want to. And so, again, not everybody. So if you're that person, if you've been smashing and dashing, slow down. Talk a little bit. Some music. Get to know. Set the mood. Then jump in. But take your time. You got at least 3-4 hours. It's not like they're gonna if you take the pill and you got 15 minutes. Relax. Chill. Take a chill pill, like literally calm down. So that was question one. That was a doozy, wasn't it? I almost didn't put that one on here. Let's go to the next one. So the next question, I thought this was a really fun one. And this again comes up a lot in the age group that I do coaching with. You know, in my life as a life coach, when people talk about their relationships, it spans the ages. But typically this is an over 40 question. And the question was, How young is too young to date? This woman is 40, but she said the men in their mid to late 40s are the ones that are approaching her. So is that too young for her to date? Her son's 36. I'm like, So what are your thoughts about that? Is 40s too young? I always say age is but a number. Hold on. Y'all notice I'm going light tonight. No sangria tonight. This is half and half. I guess you call that an Arnold Palmer. We're going light tonight. Got a heavy weekend. I forgot to mention that I am not in Illinois. I'm actually doing the show tonight from Virginia. So let's shout out to my fans in VA. Usually I've been Alonzo on here from the VA. I'm expecting my friend Dr. Clark to stop through from the VA and many others, Dr. Urquhart, aka one of my good friends. He's going to be, he usually stops through. So all my VA fans, hello. And of course, the Unicorn Angel, say hello early in the broadcast tonight. So how young is too young? Now, first of all, we know anyone you date, you're an adult, should be of legal consenting age, which is 18. In some states it's 21. So know your state. Don't get in trouble. But for me, when I'm coaching people, say age is but a number. Your own age shouldn't dictate how you feel, nor should it dictate who you date or who you are friends with, right? But if that person makes you very aware of your age, whether it's because the compatibility isn't there or the camaraderie isn't there, and I'll give you an example in a minute, then they're probably too young for you or too old. So I've seen that if you're very conscious of, for example, someone younger, you don't know anything about that. That was before your time. You find yourself constantly saying that, they're probably too young for you. If you feel like you have to explain why you do things the way you do them, or you don't do those things anymore. I did that when I was younger, like your age, they're probably too young for you. If they are always making excuses or wondering if this is something that you'll like or something that you want to do, because I know you're a little older than me, then they're probably too young for you. So, because you can meet some people, honestly, that may be 15, 20 years difference or 20 years younger than you. And you wouldn't know till they pull out their ID, right? So it just depends on the people. Now, it sounds like the second part of her question is she's concerned about how her son will feel about that. Let me say this about sons. I don't know too many sons that are ever really comfortable with their mother dating anybody, to be honest. Nobody's quite good enough for their mom. But definitely if it's somebody close to their age, I think they probably could deal with that a little bit better as long as the person is nowhere near in their peer group, meaning this is not somebody they went to school with, or like I said, their social circle overlaps with them. That's number one. And number two, how they treat you. I think there would be less of a pushback if your son sees this gentleman or group of gentlemen treating you in the manner which you should be. Hey, see, I know some of my VA friends are being here. What's up, Dr. Clark? Good evening, good evening. I hope I get to see you while I'm here. That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. So what's too young or too old? That's up to the individual. I have seen really great relationships work where there are 15 to 20 years between the two people. Sometimes it's the woman that's older and sometimes it's the man that's older, and it works just fine for them. It probably works even better if you keep other people out of your stuff. And we talk about that a lot on Friday nights. A relationship cannot be conducted by a jury of your peers. A relationship is two people, unless you're polyamorous. Right? So you can If it works for those two people, have at it. It's not everybody's business. There is no one, and I often say this to my clients, no one understands the space between two people but those two people. And many times they can't even articulate why they work, why they're drawn to each other. Everything doesn't have to be put in words and explained. So as long as it works for those two people, it's not hurting anyone. Date who you want to date. As long as you're enjoying it, it's making you feel good, and it is adding to your life. So there's my long answer. Do you, boom? Okay. Next question. I'm gonna be like the Baptist preachers tonight. I'm gonna be before you long for a couple of reasons. Number one, sis is tired. We've been traveling since, I think I've been up since 3. A little tired today. Number one. Number two, I want to spend some time with my family before I go to sleep. Got a lot of celebrations and things going on tomorrow. And then 3, I want to save some of this conversation for next week when my guests come in. I got Steph Duncan coming. So if Steph is watching, I can't look forward to next week. And I believe Shar and Yah are going to come back so we can finish up the dating. So we got that. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad that helped. Moving on. Why do men keep coming back? Ooh. This is a rough question. I've seen this a lot on Facebook. This was a Facebook question. So this one didn't come directly to me, but I've been seeing it in a couple of relationship groups. They're like asking, well, does this mean that this person really loves me because they keep coming back? And so in one group, they tore this sister to shreds. She asked this question. Okay. It didn't go well. And in another group, they asked a lot of questions. They were like, well, how long were you together before you broke up? How long has it been since you all reconciled? So they asked a few more questions. But in the final analysis, here's the big answer to the question. Why does this person keep coming back into my life? Because you let them. Because you let them. Okay. Where's the boundaries? We talk about boundaries a lot here. If there's no boundaries, if there's no reason, there's no rules of engagement, what I need to do to show up, what the expectations are for me to be in your life, then your life will remain a revolving door. And so part of us, especially the hopeless romantics, and I've been guilty, right, would like to believe, well, it's kismet, it's serendipity, it's fate that all these forces have tried to drive us apart, yet we always find our way back to each other. In some cases, that's true. And again, I've seen people be drawn, pulled apart for various reasons, circumstances beyond their control. And then they meet back up, sometimes on purpose, like, oh, I wonder whatever happened to. And in some cases, it's, wow, we run into each other and rediscover each other. But I'm talking about in both of these instances, folks, where you have cried on somebody's shoulder. Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm just done. I'm done. And then everybody, come on, girl, it's going to be all right. Or the brothers too, man, you're a good dude. You don't have to deal with that. You know what, you're going to find your queen. And then you get quiet and everybody think, okay, you're on hiatus, you're, healing. And they look up and you all are together. It's like, whoa, when did that happen? It was just something about her, we're going to try it again. He really gets me. I think he just needed some time and space to figure it out. All that may be true. But when you start losing count, and again, I've been guilty. So before anybody comes for me, it reminds me about the 5-year guy. I'm going to put mine out there. The only reason why that continues to happen is because you leave the door open. And I love that song. I love Bruno Mars. I'm sorry, that's Silk Sonic. Leave the door open. But some people are living like that. And that's toxic. You can't leave the door open indefinitely. And you can't keep opening it, closing it, opening it, closing it. Oh, that's toxic. That's toxic. Never, nothing ever gets resolved. And never, very seldom have I ever seen that manifest into a healthy relationship because there's no boundaries. People just coming and going at will. We have an argument, we go away, then we make up. And I think it's the making up, right? That draws people back. Ooh, there's so much passion. Oh, you really do love me. Or what is happening again, I've been there too. You go back out into these wicked dating streets and you meet some folks, you go, whoa, this is bad out here. At least that person didn't do me like this. So you go back. It's comfortable. You know that craziness. You know that nuttiness. So you go back. So the short answer to that, why do men or anybody, why do exes keep coming back? Because you let them. And you haven't decided for yourself what it is you really want and what you deserve. And so people are going to do that. They're going to keep coming back. That's friends. That's just like friends who keep asking you for money. You're like, dang, what do I got? ATM written on my chest? If they know that they have a great chance of getting that money from you, yeah, they're going to keep coming back. Doesn't matter how much you fuss because they've already, your kids, right? I've seen some people have this problem with their kids. They get on my nerves always asking me this because they know they're going to get it. All she going to do is fuss a little bit. So I listen to, thank you. I knew you were going to cave. Same thing with the exes. They keep coming back because it's just easy. It's just easy. Why go out there and start over? Somebody was saying that a couple of weeks ago. That's why so many people stay so long in relationships because you're like, I'm sick of going through that whole interview. What's your favorite color? How do you take your coffee? What's your pet peeves? People are like, I'm tired of doing all the interview questions. So let me just sit here and try to figure this out and work this out with this person. So that's why exes keep coming back because you let them and you haven't figured out what you really want. So you entertain foolishness. Next question. How do you know? Hey, what's up, Dr. Liz? We got all the docs in the house. Woo, woo, woo. Got Dr. Clark, me, Dr. Abioro. Say hi, y'all. So how do you know if someone is serious about you? This was a good question. How do you know if someone is serious about you or really into you? That's a simple one. It's not hard. One word, intentionality. That's how you know. If you have to ask that question, there's your answer. Because if somebody is serious about you or really into you, you will know. They will make it known. They will make it known verbally. They will make it known through their actions. They will make it known through their questions, even the things that they ask you that they want to find out about you, what you like, what you want, what you know, what you do. And they're not necessarily going to do it in that format. I just saw a video in Stars on Dr. Urquhart's group. And it was a man who was saying, look, I don't want to waste any time getting to know you. And he had a whole battery of questions and he just took the woman through it. So do you have any childhood trauma? Do you have an ex that thinks you're still together? Do you know the Lord on a first name basis? And if so, he had a whole list of questions. He was like, I'm not trying to waste any time. And so while that's good, we want to get to know someone. It's not necessarily going to have to, it's not going to happen like an interview, but they're going to find ways how they ask to spend time with you. Not waiting until, I was talking about that last week, right? When am I going to see you? When you ask to see me. And I mean, literally think about it. Sometimes we make different rules for men and likewise men for women than we do with our friends. If you want to see one of your friends, oh, I miss her. We haven't hung out for a while. You're going to pick up a phone or you're going to send a text. Hey, sis, how are you doing? Sure would love to see you. It's been a minute. Not, When I'm gonna see you? And if you did start with the when I'm gonna see you, it's like, hey, let's get together soon. Then there's your invitation to throw out some dates and times. Intentionality. Intentionality. If you kept showing up for a job and wasn't getting paid, would you keep going? Think about it. Your job has asked you to perform certain services. They have said, here are the criteria for you working here. Will you please come do this job? And in return for this job, you get paid X amount of dollars. This is your compensation. So if you kept coming to this job, was not getting paid, or the other benefits that are part of your agreement, would you keep showing up? And you would know they're not serious about me working here because they're not putting forth any effort to make sure I'm getting paid. Do you see where I'm going with this? So if you have to ask, is somebody serious about me? No, because they're not putting forth the actions to make that clear. They're not putting forth the words to make that clear. And I don't care how scared, wounded, that they are because of past experiences. If you're somebody that they want in their life, they're going to make that known. They're going to find a way. It's a carrier pigeon. If it's, look, I saw a man do a billboard for a woman a few weeks ago, Valentine's Day, did a whole billboard. So he might not have had the words verbally, may have been scared, maybe he was being creative, but whatever the case, he got his point across, rented a whole billboard. So not only did she know his intentions, but anybody in the South suburbs who saw that knew this man is in love with that woman and he's serious about her. I'll give you another one, and this is not a politically correct story, so I'll preface it by saying this. I do remember a long time ago, my mother saying this to me, explaining that we give people a lot of excuses, right? We give them a lot of reasons that really don't add up. And so I remember asking her this question some years ago. And it's like, well, how do you know? Maybe the guy is scared to tell me. And she talked about her time. Liz, you'll appreciate this story. As a special educator, she said every year when she was working on the special education department, there were children with quite a few disabilities, some with limited expressive language, some with no speech at all, some with visual impairments, etc. And she said every year it never failed that in the 7th or the 8th grade class, there would be a girl that was pregnant. And so many times the girl was impregnated by a young man who had either the same disabilities as her or more severe. And in some cases, no vision or limited vision, no language, but somehow he was able to get that point across to the girl that he was at least interested in her. In this case, maybe sexually, maybe more, because some of those couples stayed together through high school and beyond. But the point was, even with those limitations, those young men made it clear to the women that they were interested in them. So if you are sitting there waiting on a man with his full faculties, the ability to speak, walk, and talk, and you're not sure how he feels about you, sis, you lying to yourself. He don't feel nothing about you. Now, if you want to push the envelope, you're like, I don't think she knows what she's talking about because she's sitting here on YouTube talking to me on a Friday night. Go ahead and ask him and then see what his answer is. And if he's I'm trying to see how this goes. Well, I'm kind of sitting with this because I've been through a lot. If he gives you that answer, and then you say, well, you know what? Thank you for sharing, but I'm looking for somebody who's really looking to build something. If he doesn't double back or double down and say, you know what? I am digging you. I just was trying to take my time because I don't want to get hurt, but If you get ready to step away, then I need to step up. Give that guy a chance. But if that guy puts his, starts playing the violins and he's got 1,000 reasons he pulls out the scroll, cut your losses. I didn't say cut him off. I didn't say dog him on Facebook or Instagram, even Snapchat. I just said back off and keep it moving. It's not your dude. Now, it's not to say that he won't come around at some other point and say, you know what, dog, she really was. You know what? Let me find out. But you sitting there waiting on that to happen, let me tell you, like the old people used to say, a watch pot never boils. You'll get that later when I'm off. But you sit there waiting on somebody, trust and believe they're not gonna make a move because you sitting there waiting. What's the reason for me to make a move? You sitting right where I left you. Boom. Next question. Absolutely, Liz. He's not ready. Ain't gonna be ready no time soon. And part of it is what we talked about last week. There's so many options. I gave you those statistics last week. They said the average single person has at least a choice of 2,000 possible partners. And that's just on the internet. We're not even talking about on the streets. But just get on the internet every day. You're exposed to at least 2,000 people, 2,000 choices that you could make to find out if that's a potential partner. That's a little scary. And so even with that pool of candidates, people are finding it hard to match up. And some of this is because, again, we're just not being transparent and real. We're too afraid. We rather hold on to a fragment of somebody than wait for a whole somebody to present themselves available to us. Isn't that something? So how do you know somebody's into you? You'll know. And if you ask yourself, have to ask yourself the question, there's your answer. What are some green flags? So I just gave you a few in that answer, some green flags. The first one for me is consistency. Consistency. If that person continually shows up in the same way, that's a green flag. That means that's a goal. That's a positive. That's something they're showing intentionality, meaning you don't have to look for them. That's another way that I say that. So there's not going to be a day or 2 or 3 days that pass and you haven't heard from that person. Like, dang, like they used to say, excuse me, operator, could you see if something's wrong with my phone? I haven't heard from this person, but you see them posting on Facebook. Yeah. And they're talking about who they just talked to and what they're doing. They haven't rang your phone. Yeah. Red flag. Or at least it's not a green flag. Yeah. It's not a green flag towards you. So consistent communication, consistent devotion of time, consistency of actions. Okay. And like I said, being clear. Hey, I want to see you. Let's do this, making future plans. That's always, to me, a green flag. Somebody who is able to admit when they're wrong. That's a green flag. Hey, I dropped the ball on this, or I misunderstood what you were saying. Let's come back to that. Or, wow, you said you wanted to do something and we haven't done that. Let me make a point. So somebody who's willing to admit when they dropped the ball or they misunderstood or they were wrong, definitely a green flag. Definitely a green flag. When you can tell somebody is listening, when you can tell somebody is listening, if you've mentioned something either from your past or something that is between you, and you see them address it without you begging, without you throwing breadcrumbs and throwing hints for them to do it, that's a green flag. And again, that's all part of being intentional. If we're trying to impress a boss, if we're trying to impress a future partner, if we're trying to, even in peer groups, people try to impress each other, right? Because they're like, wow, I really would like this person to be in my circle, or I like how they do things. I want them to know that, I'd like to be a part of what they do. You're going to try to impress them. And you're going to be intentional about it. That means on purpose. You're not going to just accidentally hope that they fall on your lap or fall on your hands. You're going to do something. You're going to plan something, right? You're going to look up and there's, like I said, there's some consistency about it. Wow, I know I'm going to hear from this person in the morning, during the day, and at night. I know that when the weekend comes, we're going to see each other. I used to say to women, if you're dating somebody and you get to Friday and there's no plans for the weekend, that's a red flag as far as a relationship. It's not your guy. Somebody who wants to be with you is already trying to get on your calendar. Same thing with women. I've seen women do it. I've seen women do it as well. But definitely with men, since typically they kind of, I won't say control the social calendar, but they advance the social calendar in a relationship. You get to Friday and there's no weekend plans. That's not your person. That's not your person. Hold on. So those are some green flags. They don't leave you guessing. I've seen folks that when they hear in your voice, again, you got to pay attention so you don't miss it. They hear uncertainty in your voice. And they'll say, we need to have a conversation. Sound like you weren't so sure about something, or that seemed to have bothered you. Let's talk about that. That's a green flag. That shows caring, that shows listening. And there's that word again, some intentionality, right? I want to, on purpose, make sure you're happy. That's one of my goals, is to make sure that you feel good about yourself and you feel good about us. So a lot of green flags. Those are a few. Along those same lines, and we had two more questions and we're done for tonight. The next one I thought was real interesting. How do I get my man to open up? Where's the brothers? Lewis is usually in here. Where is he? Somebody go call him, find out where he is. Where's Ben? Where's the fellas tonight? Well, anyway, they see this in the replay. Hi, guys. The question came from a lady. How do I get my guy to open up? And so from a female perspective, because I've been a woman all my life, so I can only answer as a woman. First thing you can do is listen. I hear my male clients, friends of mine say this often. They feel like women don't listen. They listen to reply or they listen to dispute. They don't listen. And by listening, that means being silent and taking in the information that's being shared, whether it's verbally or non-verbally. Because sometimes men will go quiet on you. And when they're going quiet, and TD Jakes did a really good job of explaining this. It's an old broadcast, but he did a really good job of explaining this when I watched this last week, that men process things internally. So when he goes into a cave, right, or kind of folds into himself, it doesn't mean he's rejecting you. It means he's trying to figure something out. And when he's processed that, maybe he'll have it packaged up where he can share with you, or maybe he's resolved it and there's no reason to share it with you. But if he is trying to share something with you and you immediately, babe, all you got to do, whoop, listening, stop. Now you've shut him down even further. Listening is critical. There we go. Hey there, Diane. Good evening. Happy Friday. So listening, and sometimes it is hard. It is hard. So how can you be better at that? In some cases, I recommended taking notes, just like you're in a class. I said that should always be a goal. You should be trying to get a master's or a doctorate in your person. You should know them as well as they know themselves, if not better. So take notes and they're talking. I'm trying to write down the important points of what you're saying, so I know that I really heard you. Or if you're saying something and I don't want to interject right then, but I want to write down because maybe I want to ask you more about that. Not tell. Notice I said ask. Sweetheart, when you say this, can you think of a time that Or can you give me an example of that? Or do you remember the last time you felt like that? A man is willing to open up. A lot of times women say, well, men aren't emotional. Men are very emotional in a safe space. But if they know you're going to try to fix him, blame him, defend, or bring up stuff from before, oh, I know you're not upset about that because you did that to me plenty of See, Ben must have heard me call his name. Hey, how you doing, brother? Thank you. It's good to see you there this evening. Yeah. So men will open up. Ben, am I telling the truth? Men will open up in a safe space, but they will not do it if you're going to judge them, if you're going to fix them, or if you're going to bring it back and throw it in their face. It's not going to happen. Or if you try to talk over them like they're your child. This is all you got to do. Or we talked about this before. You can forget about that man opening up ever again. So he'll open up the first time because he believes he can trust you. He believes that you have his best interest at heart, or he's trying to find out just how invested you are in him. And if you do any of the things I just mentioned, he's going to fold and you may never get him back out again. Let me see what you're saying. If you throw their emotions in their face, they would absolutely. And rightfully so. And rightfully so. Brother Vin said exactly. So that's how you get a man to open up. First of all, earn his trust. Show that you're trustworthy. Show that you listen. How can you do that? By, again, demonstrating that. So if you've seen him, maybe not even directly. Let's just say, for example, he's complained about something at work. There's a consistent theme there. That either he doesn't feel heard, or he feels like people take his words a different way, or that he brings up ideas and they're not used. That's something that you're hearing him say. Then maybe take one of the ideas he shared with you and implement it. How do you think that would make him feel? Like he's been heard, like what he said is important. That's going to earn his trust and be like, wow, she listened to me. I didn't have to beg for that. You hear that come up again? We talked about that earlier in the show. When somebody does something for you without you begging, without you manipulating, without you breadcrumbing, that shows caring. So what it also does is it establishes an environment of trust. And when a person trusts you, they will open up. Nobody's going to make themselves vulnerable to somebody who's going to attack them or make them feel stupid or wear them down. And the worst thing you can do, and I still see a lot of younger women doing this, they will do this in public. That's problematic. Let's just say your guy is saying something that's a little questionable. Maybe it is being defensive. Maybe it is being overly emotional. That's not the time to say it. It's when he's in the full throes of that. Come back to that later. And most definitely, you don't need to do that in public in front of other people. That is about the worst. That is about the worst. So absolutely. So I hope that answered that question. How do you get your man to open up? Show that you're trustworthy. Show that you are a good listener and you care. And then here's the last one for tonight. And this is a loaded question. I get asked this one a lot. There's no questions in the chat. So I'm relieved right now. There's no questions in the chat. But this one comes up a lot for a lot of people that I know, not just for me. But this question comes up a lot for me, and it is as follows. Okay, for those of you who are just coming in, it's Friday night with Dr. Kim. Friday Night Live with Dr. Kim. We're still here. Yep, every Friday night, 7 p.m. CST. 8 p.m. EST. This is the first time I'm on Eastern Standard Time. This feels really strange, but it's been good. It's been good. So here's the last question for the night. Are you ready? Drum roll. Drum roll. The question is, oh, I'm sorry, Ben said one more thing. We as women, oh, okay, I tell women all the time that your looks may attract a man, but a man wants to see your heart. Boom. So the looks will get him, but your heart will keep him. Absolutely. And see, a lot of women are too scared to show their heart. Same thing as they've been hurt, they've been taken advantage. So if you're still hurt there, then you don't need to be dating. Your next shouldn't pay for your ex. There, I said it. So if you're not willing to be vulnerable and show your heart, then stay to yourself. Don't nobody want to be bothered with your mean self. Stop it. Lynn said, we as women want to be heard, but we have to realize that men also want to be heard. Absolutely. A lot of times they're not as vocal about it like we are. And that's what I'm saying. You hear a man that wants to talk to you, that's golden. Because it's especially something of the heart, that takes a lot for them to do. And then you go, awful, awful. So yes, if you ever have an opportunity, man opens up his mouth, want to share his heart, please. Yep, the beauty of a woman is her heart. Absolutely, absolutely agree. So here's the last question. Why am I single? Why am I single? This is what people want to know. Inquiring minds want to know, why am I single? Well, it's a long story. It's a pretty short story. And it's in 3 parts. So number 1, I'm single by choice. I'm single by choice. And by choice, I mean, I have not found a suitable partner, a partner who I am compatible with in every way that matters to me, intellectually compatible, physically compatible, emotionally compatible, sexually compatible. And did I say spiritually compatible, emotionally compatible, in all of those ways? Not saying that we're just alike, but we vibe complementary. Somebody who doesn't feel that I'm too anything or just anything. So it's just like the 3 little bears, right? You meet some people and they're just too hot, too cold. You want somebody who's just right, somebody who you can be your whole self with, somebody that you don't have to pretend, right? And you can be vulnerable and they accept it. You don't have to make excuses for why you do what you do or explain it. It just is. And that person has not presented themselves. I've come close, come really, really close. Have some applicants now that, you know, I'm doing a score report on. Here we're going to see how that works, but it's a choice. I've had proposals. I've had people who have said that they felt I was their wife. They had a dream about it, all of that. And so definitely I know that there are people who have seen me that way, but for various reasons, we were not able to make those relationships permanent ones. Another reason why I am single is because the relationships that I was in, I chose wrong. I chose out of loneliness, or I chose out of raw emotion, and I did not engage both the head and the heart. And we have to do that. And I saw my friend y'all post something about that earlier, meaning you can have feelings for somebody all day long, but there are oftentimes those red flags that we will ignore. And those are the things that you'll have to live with that'll break it down eventually. And so those feelings may be there. If you ever met people or heard people tell that story, that I loved them, but I couldn't live with them. But we go ahead and we marry those people, or we engage in relationships when you know and you're a knower, this person is not good for me. We're oil and water. We do not mix. But you have such great love for them. Sometimes it may be great lust for them, and you will go all in and make it work, especially if everybody around you says it'll never work. So then you see that as a challenge. Well, I'm going to show them we are going to find someone exactly perfect, but someone who you can be. Absolutely. That's definitely on the list, that someone, well, I won't say the list, but my narrative, because I talk about that. I think lists are for young people. When you are beyond 30 or 40, you should there should be a narrative of what you want. You should have some details and be able to expound on that. And that's definitely a part of my narrative, is that I want to be with someone who holds me to a higher standard, right? And encourages and inspires me to be my best self. And likewise, that when he's in my company, he's in my fellowship, he's being his best self. I'm bringing out the best in him. I make him feel really great about himself, that he wants to exercise all of his talents and his dreams, etc. So that should be mutual. No, I'm not. I can't say that I'm picky. I will not say that. I am not picky. I'm not. Selective is different than being picky. So what I'm saying is this: if someone, and then I'm done with the question, because this show is not going to be about me, but I promised I would answer what was asked. When people approach me, I'm very open-minded. But what I will not do is waste my time. No, I don't think anybody should be picky. Picky to me, that's what I said. Let's be clear about the words. Selective, yes. Picky, no. Picky to me is meeting someone and you're like, he's really nice. He or she is really nice, but they're short. Or, oh, she's really nice. He's really nice, but they have a mole on their forehead. And the last person who had a mole on their forehead broke my heart. And that's being picky. Being selective says that your lifestyle, again, is complementary to my lifestyle. Your desires for life, your values. So that means I can date and have a blue collar guy. Doesn't matter how much money he makes. Is he respectful? Does he have a relationship with the Lord? Is he funny? And that for me is high on the list. You got to be able to make me laugh. So I don't care if you're short, fat, tall, skinny, make a lot of money, make regular money. Is your money legal? That's all I care. Okay, I don't have to look over my shoulder and worry about somebody rolling up on us or something like that. So I'm selective in that. We gotta have something in common. There's got to be something for us to talk about. But I don't have this list that there's only maybe 5 people in the world could fit that list. That's being picky. I am not picky, but I am selective. I'm a giver, and I have to be very mindful of who I open my heart and give it to. So we all have non-negotiables when it comes to relationships. Well, we should. And I said it earlier about boundaries. I think it was right before you came on, Liz, and I was saying the question was, why do exes keep coming back? And I'm like, that's because you don't have any boundaries. You don't have any non-negotiables. So you're accepting anything. And they know that. That's why they keep coming back. Because they know I can go over here, I can feel good about myself. They're good company. I can get certain needs met. And I kind of know how to do that and give very little. Or know that when the expectation rises, I can leave again and you're going to let me come back. Whether it's because I'm lonely or somebody else broke my heart. So forget about it. It seems like it should be so easy. I hope that answered your question, but that's why I'm single. And I think that the third reason is our generation is becoming super duper selective, and losing our social skills, which we talked about last week, that there are some people that don't know how to date. It's very hard. I told you last week about a guy took him 30 minutes trying to ask me out on a date. How hard is that? I want to see you Saturday. Let's go to Cooper's Hawk. Let's have dinner. That took not even 30 seconds. It seems very hard for some people. So I don't know. But thank you. Thank you for asking. That's why I'm single. I don't turn into a wolf at midnight. I'm not crazy. I just think that I should be poured into as heavy as I pour. And so when that person appears, then I'll be there. Hey, what's up, Jackie? I answered your question already, so you have to watch it on the replay. going to have to watch it on the replay. But I did answer your question. So I hope you appreciate my answer. So if you all have some more, drop them in my inbox or put them on the comments on Facebook so I can come back and address those maybe at the beginning of the next show. Next week we're doing the recap of dating dilemmas. We're doing a recap of dating dilemmas. So what makes dating so hard now? And I got 10 solutions. I got 10 solutions. So maybe, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that maybe by the end of the year, I won't be single. Wouldn't that be something? No worries, cousin. I'm just glad to see you here. I'm glad to see you here. Make sure you like and share. Share this with somebody. So here were the questions so you know what you can find on this particular broadcast. The first one was, why there's so many commercials about erectile dysfunction, and why is taking Viagra turning some of these guys into sex fiends and wussy hounds? Yeah, make sure you rewind for that. How young is too young to date? Is it okay to date somebody 15 to 20 years younger than you? I answered that early on. Why do exes keep coming back? I addressed that. How do you know if someone is serious about you or really into you? Gave you the signs there, as well as some green flags instead of the red flags. How to get your man to open up? I gave you at least 3 or 4 ways to do that. And then last, I explained to you, why is the relationship renovator single? Why is Dr. Kim single? I gave you a couple of reasons why. So that's it for tonight. Tune in next week. Like I said, same bad time, same bad channel. Share the channel with your friends. We need some more subscribers. And we're going to talk about the solutions to the dating problem. So if you have some friends like me that you're like, they shouldn't be single, they're so sweet, I just know there's somebody out there for them, tune in next week so we can maybe help them get some solutions to their dating dilemmas and maybe get them booed up before spring, before summer. Yeah. You know, I had that Noah's Ark anointing. I like to see all people in twos. That's why they call me the relationship renovator. So I'm gonna help you find your boo and help you stay with your boo, okay? So if you know somebody that needs life coaching or relationship coaching, I am your girl, the relationship renovator. You can find me on Facebook, Kimberly A. King. You can also find me on my business page, The Complete Suite LLC, where you can book an appointment for life coaching, relationship coaching, or even career coaching. You tired of your job? You need to be doing something else? Come talk about it. Let's come up with a plan. I have some clients who have totally switched gears and are happy to go to work. So if that's something you want me to help you do, I would love to do it. You can also inbox me on Instagram. The Complete Suite LLC is there as well. All right. It's been a blast. Again, my friends in Virginia, I'm enjoying this rain tonight. Thank you for welcoming me back. But next week, I will see you. I'll be back in the shy. All right. Thank you for your time and attention tonight. Love you.